Well, our concern is that there's a very big legacy for future generations from PFI, and we're not sure the government fully understands how big that is. So we commissioned David Parker, the government's official historian of privatisation, to check for us and see what this legacy might be. And we found out that so far it's £13,000 per UK household into the future, and governments are using PFIs every year to the tune of 20 or 30 billion pounds. We're really concerned that this is building up an unsustainable debt for future generations. It remains to be seen how those future costs are dealt with. They may have to be dealt with by governments taking direct control of some of these projects and thereby raising taxes. It may be that the national debt is made larger than it was before. It may be, of course, that people in the future, our children and their children, will suffer cuts to health services, cuts to education services, as these schools and hospitals struggle to meet their annual payments. PFI is complicated to understand, and indeed the companies involved like to keep the details hidden, which is one of the big problems, is the lack of transparency. So we do think the government should force through laws about transparency, and that these true liabilities should be published every year or even more often, and the government should face up to the fact that it wrote bad contracts. And this isn't a point about left or right. This is both governments of both main political parties have done this. But we just need more transparency of this. We need young people to come out and fight about this, because they are going to pick up the bill for it. PFI is just one part of a broader problem of these ageing societies that we face in the Western world, where they're ageing much more rapidly than anyone expected. People are living longer. That's fantastic, of course, but there are cost implications. If everyone is still retiring at 55 or 60 or 62 and then living till 90, they're always going to take far more out of the system than they paid in, and that has massive implications for the public finances. You've already seen governments cutting defence spending, all sorts of spending, just because their pensions bill essentially is rising inexorably. And it's part of that, a recognition of that, is that they're pushing things off the public balance sheet if they possibly can. They need to maintain health and education services at a time when an ageing society is demanding more and more of the national pie, if you like, a bigger and bigger slice. And you can see the temptation of it. The trouble is, they're just putting off the problem to future taxpayers, young people, children not yet born. That's our concern.